not into dreams anymore, okay? I'm into nightmares. You guys with me on that? I want better execution.
If I get out of hand, just tell me I'm a jerk and shut up.
Hey, referee! Hey! Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your skull? How the hell you call that? Well, call it on Tom Brady, will ya? Call it on those guys. You know, one hell of a back, baby. I love you. Great job. Great job. Hey! 20 seconds, Nate. Hurry up, Nate. 16. Get the fuck on, Nate. Let's go.
What's going on, Raider Nation? Welcome back to the SoCal Raider Report. My God, it has been a rough couple weeks for the SoCal Raider Report crew and Raider Nation at large. There's been some ups, and there's not been any ups. There's been a lot of downs. down like Chinatown. Now, I just want to say I'm so grateful to these guys. You know, when the news broke on Gruden, man, I was under, you know, I was sweating it out like in Debo's
suicide watch.
Yeah, I was in the pigeon coop, you know, sweating it out like a slave with Debo.
Get off me. Get off me. I'm in Debo pigeon coop sweating like a slave. And the only person could get me out was my mom.
Even that saying that could probably get me canceled. And, you know, the reality is, folks, Jon Gruden's gone. I just kind of want to know what the fellas think about it. It was tough. I mean, I took it on the chin real hard. It felt like I lost a family member, and I don't even really know why, but to me, Jon Gruden felt like he was coming home. It was all gonna get fixed from everything else that had happened earlier. But I just kind of want to know your guys' feelings on this, because I was devastated at first, and I've turned around. I feel better now. But I want to know what you guys think. And let's start it off with Junior. Let's go with Raider Joe Jr. I want to start with, what do you think about this? I know you weren't really quite, maybe you were alive when he was first coaching. I don't know, but what do you think about what happened?
I think it needs to happen more often. I think each head coach and GM from now on need to get investigated. I don't know why, for some reason, they decided to investigate Jon Gruden's emails from 10 years ago and then again in 2018. And then wait till come out with these emails and when we start having a good season. But
on the 10th year anniversary of Al Davis' death, it came out.
Yeah. But, you know, we have who's the interim? Rich Biasco?
Rich
Bisaccia, whatever. He seems like a pretty cool guy. Greg Olson's gonna be the guy that's be calling the plays, so it's not like a new guy's calling plays. He's Derek Carr's used to him calling the plays like when he was a rookie, according to the interview he had after practice today.
Yeah. By the way, that if you didn't see the press conference, Raider Nation, go watch that. That really got me off the canvas too. That press conference really, if you're a Raider fan who's been down and out like me, that really got you off the mat. But go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah. The defense coordinator is the same, so you know it sucks. He was a cool guy. I liked Jon Gruden, but you know, it happens, and I don't think it's going to change the outcome of this game too much. If anything, we're going to be a little less predictable.
That's a good point. All right, let's go over to Mike. Raider Mike, what do you say, brother? What'd you think?
Oh,
about
man,
it?
you know, I'm going to do a shortened version of my take on this, because this really needs to be unpacked, right? This really needs to be unpacked because there's different aspects of this. So I'll start off with just like what he did and what he said. Okay, so if we're all going to be judged based off what we said that was insensitive to certain groups or subgroups or certain members of our community, right? I'm canceled, bro. I'm done. I mean, I've said, I mean, honestly, dude, I've said some very mean and insensitive things, and not necessarily to the same groups that Gruden's been condemned for, but just in general, right? Like I've said some pretty, and most of the things that I've said was just to get laughs out of my boys. You know, being in the military is pretty freaking offensive in its own right. But we live in a different world, and it's not like it's just started happening. So I'm going to say that number one, it's kind of booty to bring up some shit from 10 years ago. But I felt like, and I share the political commentary from some conservative folks that I listen to. It was like the woke gods had to get fed with the human sacrifice, right? And it just so happens that it was John Gruden. Why? I don't know, because they were doing the investigation into the Washington Redskin football team, foreskin, whatever their names are, right? and they probably saw some pretty insensitive things that Gruden was, you know, mother effing this person and this dude's lips and these women and these queers, you know, whatever he said, right, were pretty offensive. And they're like, all right, we need a human sacrifice to keep going. And they fed the beast, right? And Gruden's canceled now. I'm also going to say that shame on Gruden for writing that stuff. Like, you got to know better. You got to know better, bro. It's not like you and I doing it with our buddies. No one cares if we get canceled. Well, how are they going to cancel me? They're going to kick me off Facebook. I don't even really mess with Twitter. John Gruden is not.
I've been banned off Twitter, but okay.
Yeah, John Gruden's not a rookie, right? He's not a rookie, bro. John Gruden should have known fucking better. Pardon my language, but he should have known better. I still don't think it's right to bring up someone's past from 10 years ago or whatever, but he stepped on it, bro. And the woke mob, cancel culture mob, they got him, bro. They got him bad.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see that Derek Carr and a lot of other players and former players and sports analysts actually at some point early on came to his rescue and said, hey, this is uncharacteristic of him, but I condemn what he said, but this dude's a human, and everything that I've seen out of him has been like all about the players, and he's a good dude as far as I know. But hey, is what it is. Homie got it. He got it from the woke mob or the cancel culture mob or whatever. So, I mean, it sucks, but what I can say is I don't think it's going to get better. I think it's going to get worse as far as competition-wise and as far as performance. I think it's going to get worse before it gets bad. I think it's going to get better.
You mean the performance on the field, or what are you saying?
Yeah, performance on the field. I think it's. I like what Joe Jr. said. That's an interesting perspective, but correct me if I'm wrong. John Gruden was still the shot caller on offense. Yeah, he might have had an offensive coordinator, but So my question is, do they still go with the Gruden installs, or do they wipe it away clean, or do they do a modification of it? I'm not sure, but it can't be. I don't think it could be positive. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I think we still could pull a W off of this coming weekend with Denver. I think they've been exposed. They're not a very good team. But I think overall, we could pull out this win, but I just don't see it getting. I see it getting worse before it gets better. We got to get used to the adjustment. Although it's not big of an adjustment, that's my biggest question though, is it, okay, we got to go back to the drawing board, or is it, nah, we're still going to go with this style. We're going to tweak some things. In any sense, everything compounded, I think it's going to take its toll on the Raiders. Injuries and people, I saw some injury reports, and I think some folks are back that are going to help, with solutions. But based off the last two games, we were going downhill anyways. So, I'm just going to go to church again this Sunday and say my prayers. And God didn't answer that prayer last Sunday. So, I don't know, bro. That's my take on it. I think that shouldn't have got canceled, but shame on him for sending emails out on the interwebs like that, even if it was from 2011.
Work
You
email.
know, yeah, it is what it is. So we got to find a way. We got to find a way to move forward. And if we can't move forward, it's going to be another bust season for the Raiders. But I'm hoping not. I'm hoping it says, but he doesn't define us. This is Red Nation before there was a Gruden, right?
Yeah.
Just when baby came about before Gruden. So if we do that, we can probably salvage the season, but I think it's going to be difficult, to say the least.
Okay. Now, I everything you said, I totally agree with, and that's kind of what put me in a tailspin. Before I get to Raider Joe, I just kind of want to. It just makes me remind me of a point. I remember when Al Davis fired Shanahan. You know, Raider Joe Jr., you weren't born yet, but Al Davis, we had the famous Denver coach Mike Shanahan, and the Raiders were loaded personnel wise, kind of like we are now. I still think we have a very good set of players. I know we're banged up. I know there's injuries, but if you look back in that year, the Raiders were going nowhere quick, and he replaced Mike Shanahan with Art Shell, and there was a fire lit under the team. There was a lot of fight, and even in that first game, if you go back and look on Art Shell's first game, it looked like the Raiders were going to get stomped. It looked like they were going to get stomped, but they came back and they actually won. And I think it was on Monday night. We'll have to look this up, but I think it was on Monday night, and they rose to the occasion. And now, obviously, they didn't go on to win the Super Bowl. They didn't do anything that great that year, but they didn't let it just all go down the toilet. So I think that's my reason for some hope here. But what do you say, Joe? Let's get to Raider Joe here. What do you think about the whole damn thing?
Well, like you said, Ernie, it's been pretty rough for the last few weeks here in the Raider Nation. And John Gruden, I was a huge fan of John Gruden when they brought him in. I think I look at John Gruden and I think of him as one of us. He's a Raider fan, coaching his favorite football team. So, and to your point, Mike, yeah, you can go in everybody's emails, especially mine. The first thing I did when this shit happened, I went through my phone, started deleting emails, bro, because you know, right? but the reality is this, okay? You hear a lot of people saying 10 years ago, really? You can go back 10 years? Well, he said it 10 years ago. And if it happened 10 years ago, and if they found it 10 years ago, he never would have been hired as the Raider coach to begin with. So they just didn't find it when it happened, and they found it now during an investigation. And we all know the NFL hates the Raiders, and John Gruden might have been a big reason why, you know. So for me, I hate to see Chucky go. I think he had that Raider mystique that everybody loved. Everybody loved him. But ultimately, he said some dumb stuff, and he said some dumb stuff all the way up to 2018. So, I just cancel culture got him, but he got himself for doing that. He's a celebrity, and you can't be doing that stuff when you're a celebrity. When you sign up for that stuff, when you sign up for that kind of money, you can't be doing dumb stuff that'll get you fired. And he was getting paid money back then in 2010 too, so it wasn't like he was a poor guy just sending emails out. So he was already a celebrity back then, and he blew it. But as far as the Raiders are concerned, the rest of the year, I feel good about our team. I really do. I think that there's some continuity there, even without Gruden. You guys still got the same coaches that have been there. Derek Carr and Olsen have been working together forever. The thing about the Raiders is they've been starting slow almost every game this year. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, let's call it what it is. Gruden's first 10 plays are scripted, right? So and Gruden calls the plays. So starting slow falls a lot on Gruden. So as Little Joe said, Little Joe Jr. said, maybe they're not going to be as predictable, because obviously the other teams have picked it up from a predictable standpoint for the first 5 games. Every game we could have lost, and we had to come back in the second half in every game. So I look forward to seeing what happens. I was talking to Raider Earn earlier today. There's going to be one way. Either we're gonna come out, lay an egg, or we're gonna rally amongst each other and come out and fight. And I think that's what's going to happen. We have a good team, and we're not going to let it fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, because at the end of the day, these players, they're still playing for everything. Everything's still in front of them. Again, like, that's why I love today's press conference, because you really see that they have everything to play for. Plus, that dark cloud was over the team on Sunday. There's no denying it. There's absolutely no denying it. And I know, again, the media doesn't want to get into all that, but come on, guys, we saw it. It looked like guys dropped passes on purpose. It looked like guys stopped blocking on purpose. And a lot of those guys were men of color. I hate to say it. And I think a lot of those guys, there's a play in particular that they point out when Hankins got hurt. Hankins got hurt the second time, and Gruden tried to go out there and dap him up and say, come on, bro. And he didn't want nothing to do with him. He didn't want nothing to do with him. And that's when I was saying, this is over for him. He's lost the locker room. And that wasn't even before all the other damn emails came up. Mm-hmm. And if anybody wants to sit up here and say, like Joe said, that the NFL does not have hatred for this team, even though they let him move to Vegas, even though they let him, carry on with Gruden for a while, they've had a target on the Raiders forever. And it just continues. And so maybe, if anything, the removal of Gruden has appeased what Mike said, the woke gods of this sad country right now. Because I'll be honest with you, look, everybody has said some stupid stuff. Man, I'm telling you, my glass house is held together by duct tape. Okay? So everybody says some dumb stuff. But at the end of the day, I do believe in God. I am a Christian, and I do believe in forgiveness. So I forgive John Gruden for what he said. A lot of those things he said is out of frustration for all the crap that he's been through, all the things that have happened to him as a Raider, as a coach. And a lot of that is just pure frustration. And I go through that on a day-to-day basis. And of course, because he's white, it really made it really worse. But if it had been anybody else saying that, man, I think in our society today, they would probably just let him off.
Yeah.
The fact that he's a white, rich man in this world right now, he was doomed. That was it. That's why I told you guys when I said it. When it happened initially, even with just the black comment, but the Michelin Man Lips comments, I knew it. It's over for him. That's it. And I know we wanted to, be positive. I know I hate to be pessimistic, but I knew it. Just like I knew the game on Sunday, we lost. I could see it. The players had lost it with him.
But people throw the word racist around too much. Okay, I don't believe John Gruden's a racist. Not everything he's done. I mean, if anything I say that's racist, I'm not racist. It's just me talking to my boys sometimes. Sometimes we just say stupid shit. It's not like I'm racist. I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, green, purple. We're all boys. And he was joking. Obviously, that Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder are his boys. They're on email fucking around together, saying, joking. But it's not like it shouldn't have got. He shouldn't have said it just because he's in the limelight. Lesson learned.
So, lesson learned. Don't put it on a freaking email. Don't put it on the internet.
So,
go ahead, Mike.
So, I don't know. I mean, I did feel like the receivers were crazy, like Butterfinger a little bit this past game against Chicago, but I saw the defense not quitting. I saw the defense with some very critical stops when they needed. I think it's the same. Now I'm going to say that, and I'm going to stick with what I said. I think that their lackluster offense is what lost the game, compounded with this thing that was in the back of their minds, right? Whether they were just confused, whether they had mixed emotions, right? So I don't necessarily think it was like, oh, only the African-American players were like making a statement. I just seen it on the offensive side, mostly with the receivers, just in general. But I saw the defense really stepping up, and there was several instances where they just went up and stuck dudes, gang tackles right before the line of before the first down marker. And I saw some good things as far as the whole kind of going off what Raider Joe was just saying, like with the whole, racist thing being overplayed or whatever, or people throwing around that term too loosely or whatever. I definitely think that that's a thing, but it's motivated by this new way of thinking in our society, which is feelings over facts. Feelings are over everything. And because society, especially sports and entertainment, especially right, and mainstream media, they are all about people's feelings, and they're all about inclusivity and so on and so forth. And although it may not have been as popular back in 2012, you guys noted that Gruden was still on the email dropping like kind of terms that are just forbidden in society, not amongst regular people like us. Not saying it's cool. I don't condone racism, sexism, any of that stuff, right? But there's a difference between just talking mess, just talking crap, using words that, yeah, they're offensive to certain groups of people. But if you think about it, a lot of these words are not even meant to hurt them. They're just derogatory terms that we kind of talk to each other about,
Yeah. Like when he called Goodell the P word, he called him a P.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have we said that so-and-so is acting like a little bitch or whatever? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm sure everybody in the fantasy football is like, Ernie's a little P, because I was ready to cancel the league. Truth be told.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, there's someone, I can't remember who said it. I think it's Jordan Peterson. But he says, be precise in your speech. And I think that matters more now today than any other time in our history, is that, and especially if you're in the limelight, you just got to be precise with your speech. A lot of the stuff that you could chalk up as locker room talk back in the days,
yeah,
you can't do nowadays, because now there's a bigger emphasis on people's feelings and microaggressions and things of that nature. But you can say it's bullshit all you want, right? But if you're living and operating in those societies, in those facets of our society, politics, sports, and entertainment, then you gotta get with it, or you're gonna get your ass canceled. And that's the bottom line. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah. And you know what, like having you and Raider Joe Jr. here, you guys are active, and even John when he comes in or whatever, you guys are servicemen. You guys worked in the military, and Joe is there in the military. There's certain things that are said when you're going to war and you're going to battle with people, and there's all these things that happen. Man, all that stuff, all the politically correct stuff, at the end of the day, that's got to get tossed out, because this is life or death. You know what I mean? For you guys that served, and you guys that work there, and you do everything. And I'm sure there's some things that are said that are, if you don't have a thick skin, I'm sure it can be very damaging. But man, we got to get past that crap. We gotta get past that.
Yeah,
I know there's certain things you just can't say on a corporate email, on an email server that's going to your boss. There's just certain things you just don't. That's just being smart. But expecting everybody to just change completely overnight, I mean, that's ridiculous. And I mean, he's a leader of a football team. He's not a leader of my kindergarten class. You know what I mean? I'm a teacher. I have no business talking like that to anybody. I coach junior high students. I can never, ever talk like that, and I never would. But if I'm sitting here with you guys and we're having a drink or whatever, and we're hanging out, I mean, good Lord, think of our Pittsburgh trip. There's some things that they will never be said again. They'll never be recoiled, because it's not for everybody to hear or see. And so, I don't know. I mean, Raider Joe Jr., when you guys are out there in your active service, I mean, what's it like out there? I'm not sure you guys aren't out there singing Kumbaya and kissing everybody's butt, right?
It's gotten to be almost exactly the same as the regular society. The military is a lot
he's active
different
right now. What do you?
Yeah, you're new. Yeah, you're in there now. I retired a year ago.
It's There's like no filter, pretty much. You say whatever you want, and if people get their feelings hurt, it's like, you know, get the hell out of the room then.
Or put your dukes up, right? Put your dukes up then.
Yeah.
That's how it used to be at the end of the day. And I realize, though, again, I understand there's a part of our country that is deeply sick. You know, I've felt and sensed racism in my life. I hate to see minorities. That's why I love the Raiders so much, you guys. People always ask me, why do you like the Raiders so much? Because the Raiders, to me, stand for the fight against racism. To me, in my whatever crazy mind, the Raiders have always meant that. You know what I mean? Now, I mean, I get it. We've gone into the whole thing with the now gender and all that. I mean, whatever. That's more than I can handle. But the bottom line is the reason why I became a Raiders fan, because they, to me, represented hope for minority people. Seeing a Latino quarterback and coach.
First Latino head coach, first black head coach, first women president of the team. I mean, we've always
first gay active roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, yeah. So for me, it's more, that's exactly what we stood for. And that's why, you know, ultimately, even though it happened 10 years ago, this is when it came to light, and Mark Davis had it, he has a stand for it. He was forced to do it. It's not the way Raiders stand for. And the fact that it came to light now.
He had to go.
Yeah. Check it out. Check this out. Here's how I look at it. Like, let's say you got this crazy uncle that you've always admired, right? Let's say you got this dude. This dude's cool. You know, he's got that, you know, let's get it done. Anything you've ever seen of him has been inclusive. He don't judge anyone by the color of their skin, only what they got inside of here. I don't know. Maybe he's your baseball coach or your football coach too, or maybe this is your football coach. I don't know. And then you catch wind that this fool's, oh my God. It happened to me. It looks like no matter where I go in my house that I'm not safe, because I had the dogs fighting with the neighbor's dogs earlier. I live next to the airport. The Air Force jets were going overhead earlier, and then my wife comes out. Can I give this to the dog? And I'm like, oh, I'm on a podcast.
Okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
But the bottom line is, it's like your fate. It's like your little league coach or your crazy uncle that you had mad respect for, and then you find out that he was basically saying some dumb, inappropriate, insensitive shit, right? It doesn't change what he's done for you and what you thought of him. It doesn't change those things, but it's almost like, bro, you know?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You know better than to say this.
Yeah.
But I don't think Gruden has anything against African Americans or Latinos. I personally don't see that. I don't think he has anything against women. I don't think he has anything against the LGBTQ community. I just think that he was using this locker room talk, and it was insensitive talk. And like I said earlier, we live in a society where you cannot be insensitive and be in positions like that of increased and responsibility and in the limelight. You just can't. It's not here anymore.
Although it wasn't as insensitive in 2010 as it is in 2021, right?
Oh no, and imagine when he was working for Al Davis. Do you think Al Davis, if anybody thinks that Al Davis was sitting there kissing anybody's butt or was writing politically, by the way, Al Davis never wrote an email in his life, because he would never do that. He was too smart for that, because he was brutal, you guys. If you guys don't realize, you guys are Raider fans, if you don't think that Al Davis ever said something that was off the cuff or wrong or whatever, and trust me, he's Jewish, he was Jewish, his family's Jewish, it don't matter, he still will go after people. He was a man of war. Football is a game of war. And so these guys are out to battle. And so, I mean, come on, that's just, to me, that's just, it's too much. Yeah, you're right, Joe. 10 years ago, this would have been blown under. 20 years ago, it would have even just been an afterthought, because the world's changed, and that's fine. Yeah. Maybe things need to get better. Maybe we need to be a little more sensitive, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I teach kids. I've seen a lot of kids real confused right now. Real confused.
I guess the last thing I'll say on this subject before we move to the game, I think, John Gruden's getting paid a lot of money to coach the Raiders. I loved him. I felt that he was a Raider fan coaching his favorite team. Let's be realistic here. He wasn't doing a very good job coaching, right? From a record aspect. So I'd almost would have been better with the fact of hearing Mark Davis fired John Gruden on Monday because he didn't like the direction the team was going versus him getting fired for what he said on emails 10 years ago. But that's how it happened. That's how it went down. That's what's the most frustrating thing about it, of how he got fired versus anything. Because I do think that he was a good guy to be around the Raider Nation. I actually look for him. Okay, after he's coaching, he's probably going to be our GM and then be part of the organization for the rest of his life. Now that's not going to happen. But hey, it is what it is. He made a mistake, and hopefully in the years to come, people learn to forgive and forgive, and maybe never forget, but at least forgive. And he's not a racist. He is definitely not a racist. You've seen everything he's done for the NFL, everything he's done for players, everything he's done for coaches. He's had such a lasting impact, and for him to be termed as a racist right now, or as homophobic against the gay community, I think it's just stupid. And I think it's just people trying to bring to light whatever they want to bring to light. And I hate listening to the national media, because all they want to do is get attention, and they're getting attention to by stepping on somebody while he's down and kicking him while he's down. That's the worst part about this whole thing. How the hell is Gruden the only one that's been brought down with this whole? It's a Washington Redskins investigation, and the Las Vegas Raiders coach gets fired. Nothing happened to the Washington Redskins, anybody in the organization. What did Bruce Allen say in response? What did the owner say in response? They're protecting people.
Mama's the word there.
Yeah, not only that, the NFL came out and said they're not going to release any more of the emails. And there's hundreds of thousands of email correspondence that implicate other executives and athletic managers and probably GMs and so on and so forth. So and I will one last point, because I know we've gone off on this, and it needs to be all about the Raiders moving forward. But everything that I've said here today is coming from my old school. I'm not sensitive. I got thick skin. You could talk shit about me. You could clown me, which my friends and I have done. They've clowned me about my nationality. I'm half white, half Mexican. I've heard so many things, but in someone's heart, whether they're being racist or not, or whether they really hate you or not, or they hate you because of the color of your skin or your sexual preference. Like when someone's doing it saying something from a place of hate, and then someone's just talking crap, right? Like, you have to know that in your heart of hearts. So I in no way, shape, or form condone anyone who truly hates someone because of their race or the color of their skin or because of sexual preference, right?
Yeah.
That goes against everything that I'm about, which is, willing the good of the other, God's love, right? But there's a difference between people growing up a certain way and not being sensitive and talking crap, right? Because it sounds like it's just locker room talk, like F Goodell, that P word, that's, come on, man. What type of shit's being talked inside those locker rooms right now in the NFL and college and so on and so forth. So I'm not trying to say that, Gruden's good because you're like, I'm just saying, like, there's a difference between, in your heart, you hate someone because of the color of their skin, or because, all these other things, or because they're women, you think they're inferior or whatever. I don't think that was the intent. I think he grew up a certain way. It's all about that locker room talk when you think you're in the privacy of your own home or amongst people that you're friends with. And I think that's the deal. So I just wanted to make that clear right there.
All right, cool, man. All right. Anybody else want to say anything about RIP to Gruden?
That's it.
Cancel Christmas.
RIP. All right, let's get into this week then. Let's just move forward like everybody else got it now. Because you know what? That's the thing that brought me back. I was on the gurney. I was on the deathbed of being a Raider fan. And then, the reality hits in. Look, there's a game on Sunday. We're still 3-2. It's not over. So let's just focus in on Denver. Okay? Denver to me is extremely overrated. I saw us. We beat them twice last year. Teddy Bridgewater is the difference. We beat them twice. We swept that series last year. Okay, it was a close games, good games, but hey, at the end of the day, we beat them twice. And so now, what do you guys think? Can we do it again? Is it in Denver? Is that right?
It's in Denver.
It's in Denver.
I think this Sunday is more about the Raiders than anybody else. Okay, I think that that, like I said earlier, they're either going to come together as a team or they're going to lay an egg. And I have confidence that these players are going to come together as a team and pull one out in Denver. I know, Mike, you were saying you're feeling like it's going to get worse before it gets better. Hey, if this was going to happen, we got Denver, Philadelphia, and the Giants coming up. It's not like we're playing Kansas City, Baltimore, and Tampa Bay, you know. So we got some pretty winnable games coming up. And you know, like Al Davis always says, just win, baby. You know, and if we win, that's going to cure everything. We win this Sunday, we're going to come together as a team. All of a sudden, the dialogue top. Now, if we lose on Sunday, you're going to continue to hear this. Oh, we lost because it's still in their head what happened with Gruden, blah, blah, blah. I think we come together as a team. And I know the Denver defense is a strong defense, but they've also been struggling to start fast too. I think we're going to come out fast. I think we're going to come out different and take this game 24-13 Raiders.
Now, Junior, you look like you had a friend in there. Who's coming in with you, Junior?
That was my Navy buddy. He walked in. He didn't believe I was in a Zoom call. I was like, I'm in a meeting right now. He's like, no, you're not. He comes in. He looks into the camera. He starts dying laughing because he notices that I actually am in a meeting.
Yeah. Dang, man. You're
oh, shit. My bad.
It's all good, man. Tell him we said what's up from the SoCal Red Report crew. All right, let's find your thoughts. Junior, what do you think about this week? Do we have a chance?
We definitely have a chance. You know, everyone was talking big about the Broncos, saying that they're better than the Raiders, but then you look at their schedule and they defeated the 3 worst teams in the NFL. And then the last 2 weeks they faced decent, you know, somewhat decent teams. Well, I'll say decent teams.
Teams we beat.
Yeah, teams we beat, and they lose by quite a bit. So I think we're going to go in and whip some ass.
Yeah, let's go. All right, Mike, what do you think about this week's game?
Well, I think we have to not just look at, okay, Gruden's gone. There's some finalization to that because last week it was kind of hanging over our heads. What's going to happen? Oh, my God, he said this. But I think you also have to look at the preceding 2 weeks, right, leading up to tomorrow or this weekend's game. And you've seen a Charger team that just outperformed us in a very lackluster offense. And then,
but that's a Chargers team that looks elite right now. I mean, they just beat the Browns, so we're supposedly a Super Bowl contender.
So that's my point, is that we were on a high, 3-0, and then they kind of gave us a reality check, like, hey, with your injuries and your performance, you're not who you thought you were. And I think that compound. I can't really diagnose the Bears game too much because I think it had a lot to do with that Gruden thing. I really do. So I can't really diagnose it too much. And I know that I wasn't called to right now. I'm looking at the Bronco game. But like I said, I think that we definitely can win. We can win. Raider Joe's right. Like, hey, this bullshit couldn't have happened to us at a better time, right? We're getting a Broncos team that has clearly shown that they're not anywhere nearly as good as anybody thought they were because of their first few games. I got a buddy who's a Broncos fan, and I was kind of giving him hell on Sunday, and he was like, yeah, we're garbage, dude. He actually sold his seats to this weekend's game because of how the Raiders took a duke and then how the Broncos have been basically they turned back into a pumpkin.
Yeah, the Raiders also just signed John Brown.
Sign him back?
I'm pretty sure they just signed him.
No, the Broncos signed John Brown.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Crap.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think you're right. It all depends on the Raiders' resolve. Okay. Have they put this behind them for the most part? And Is there going to be a learning curve or an adjustment, or is it just going to be like clockwork? Like, hey, we're still gonna be installing the same type of offense, but they got to get better. They got to get better offensively. I've been not totally satisfied with the defense, but the defense has freaking impressed me a lot. And then I've seen some offensive bright spots too. But it all depends on the Raiders' resolve and how they're going to come back. Offensively is the key, in my opinion, for this game. I think they can do it. I just think that I'm just going to be kind of sitting back with my arms crossed, finding out which Raider team comes out. If it's the Raider team that gets down on themselves and woe is me, and our coach I can't believe that the NFL let this racist and this misogynistic and this, homophobic coach, how could he have led me? If it's going to be a woe is me type of mentality, then they're not going to win, not even the Broncos. But if they can just put that shit behind them and come out and say, okay, this was overshadowing our pretty good start to our season. Hell no. We're coming out and we're going to punch you fools right in the face, offensively and defensively. Then we win this game, maybe even convincingly.
That's right, baby.
Joe?
That's right. I like it.
Yeah, I think honestly, you have a great point there. I think honestly, what we saw in those first 3 weeks is a good team with a lot of good skill position players, an improved defense. This is not the same old team. And like Joe said, I feel like the team was handcuffed by a lot of John Gruden's crazy, stupid play calls. Like they were saying on the radio this morning, John Gruden would keep running the same stupid plays 5 times. We all saw him coming. We all saw those stupid plays on fourth down coming. We've seen a lot of dumb play calls, and that's part of it. That's him. That's his stubborn play call mentality. And honestly, I think that could change this week. I don't know exactly if it's going to be Carr calling plays at the line or if it's going to be Olsen on the mic. But the reality is, I think on paper, we're a better team than Denver. I think last week, the emotional toll was too much. But I think this week, the serpent's head's been cut off, and now we've moved on. The pain of losing a loved one, I know it so well, losing my dad this year, and you're not right for a long time. It may not. Just look at USC. They're not right. A lot of people, USC's going to bounce back now. Well, because Clay Helton was a terrible play caller, terrible. No, you've seen them. They've unraveled now. They're horrible. And the thing is, USC is not the Raiders. The Raiders have a lot of guys on 1-year contracts. They have a lot of guys on a 5th-year option coming up. Even Carr, his contract's ending this year. So there's a lot of guys playing for something, and it's gonna have to start right now. Otherwise, this thing's gonna get completely rehauled. So what do you say, Joe? Do you think we can win?
I know we can win, and I think we are going to win. Like I said, I think we're going to win 24-13. I think we're going to win convincingly.
Did you kick that dog?
I think the team's going to rally amongst each other. Hey, I think the teams are going to rally amongst each other. I'm bringing the dogs out today, baby.
Who's got the dogs out?
I think, like I said earlier, this game is about the Raiders. It's more about the Raiders than anybody else. We are the better team. If we just come out with that mentality, we're going to win. And I believe we will. I think that knowing these players over the last years that we've drafted and how their attitudes and just listening to press conferences, you could tell that these guys are just here to play football and they're here to win. So looking forward to it. I'm excited about this Sunday, and let's go. Let's get it going. I wish it was Sunday already.
I know, me too, and I'm ready for it. I'll be texting with you guys, and shout out to Steeler John wherever he's at. I know he was probably happy that Denver season is kind of coming back a little bit. Didn't look so bleak against Denver, which again, Denver's got a good defense. Their offense sucks. I'm sorry, you're not going to convince me of that. So I don't know. I think the Raiders can do it. We're going to watch. We're going to see. We're excited, Raider Nation. You guys, thanks for coming in today, and thanks for putting up for me. Putting up with me. I know I'm, high and low, up and down, in and out. But end of the day, you guys know me. I'm a huge Raider fan, and I love you guys, and I love the whole Raider Nation. So thanks again, you guys, and hope you all have a good night. All right.
All right.
Big shout out to the Dodgers who play tomorrow in a pivotal Game 5 against the Giants in San Francisco, baby. We
That's
can't
right,
talk
baby.
about Raiders without saying go Dodgers still. Come on now.
Go Dodgers, baby. Most
right.
Raider fans are Dodger fans too. Most Raider fans.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. God
Go
bless.
Raiders.
I'll see you on Sunday. Peace
Okay.
out.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Raiders.
See it.